Hi, I'm Catherine
And I'm Lynn, and we are a coffee break.
with Cat and Mom. Welcome back to our podcast. Today is episode 19, so close to episode 20, which is pretty crazy. Today we are talking about long distance relationships. I have been through a long distance relationship, and I'm still with that guy. It's been 4.5 years, and she has also been through a long distance relationship. And then also while raising us, my dad would be out of town for work a lot, so that also counts as like temporary long distance on and off. But before we start our topic, we are going to give you guys a little weekend review of what we've been up to.
We went to Jacksonville last weekend. My oldest daughter, so her oldest sister, Isabella, graduated last year from Jacksonville University. And she was on a rowing scholarship, and they won 3 years in a row their MAC conference and went to the NCAA. The ring ceremony for those conferences is always a year later.
Mhm.
So pretty much the whole team that graduated. I mean, there's 14 girls that graduated last year. Out of the 14 girls, 13 came back. That was it. I mean, they were able to come back for the ceremony, and so they were all there. Plus the ones that are still, hasn't graduated yet. They were all there for the ring ceremony, so that was pretty exciting.
It was like a little reunion.
Yeah, that was great to see all the. And then some of the parents came back too, so that was great for me as a parent to see them. But those rings this year,
There were some
they
fat
outdid
rings,
it.
yeah.
I mean, if she can put a picture, you'll see.
Yeah, my sister helped design, and she's like, "Let's make it as big as possible."
Because
And
they graduated.
they all stood in a circle, and did like 3, 2, 1, and they opened the box. And it was all their first reactions to the ring, except the coach.
We didn't get to see her that much, but we did get to go to the beach with her. And
we went to the beach, and there was like a ton of fog. I'm sure if you're from Florida, you know about like the. I don't know if it's just Florida, but it was crazy. It was like a wall of just.
It was
fog. Couldn't see it in front
middle of the day. It was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and like you could, if you turn and look at the sea. I said, "Oh my gosh, it's like the Pirates of the Caribbean, like the pirate ship coming up." Because you couldn't see anything. It was. I mean, I don't mind if Johnny Depp comes, towards us. I'm fine with that. But
and then every episode we do a coffee review to promote small businesses, and we go there, we try it, and then we come back and tell you guys how it was. So we went to
Le Petit Paris Cafe in Neptune Beach in Jacksonville. It's literally right by the beach on Atlantic Boulevard, and actually, it was not our first time there.
Yeah, no, we've been there a couple times. Yeah, and it's
one of our favorite.
It's got the Paris flair. Like, the second you walk in, it's very, very French, obviously by the name. But they really do a good job of decorating and giving that vibe.
It's very popular, so you're kind of trying to go and get your seat before you go order, because otherwise you're going to eat standing. But they have not just, they have breakfast stuff, everything pastry French that you can think about, they will have it.
Charcuterie boards, sandwiches, salads, soups.
Homemade soups. Everything is homemade. They even have wine, all sorts of, mimosas going on.
Special stuff like that.
Bellinis
But I had a matcha, which was great. I've had coffees from there, and their lattes are amazing. Their latte art is also very cute. They're and then their little coffee cups are also adorable.
Yeah, I had a cappuccino, and it was, I was tired, but it was very potent. I actually needed to add a little sugar in it. It was
but it was so cute.
Oh,
and then the hot cocoa was all decked out with the whipped cream and the chocolate and all that. But I think last time I got their amaretto latte or some sort of latte, and it is definitely the top lattes I've ever had. Their pastries are wonderful. I get their almond croissant every time, and it's the best almond croissant ever.
They have the charcuterie board too, and their baguettes, of course. It's amazing. But
it's so good.
Your sister had, she loves chocolate croissant, but every time we go there, she remembers it's her
And she
favorite.
usually doesn't finish chocolate croissants. She only eats around the chocolate, but she eats the whole thing there. Moving on though, every single episode, starting a couple episodes ago, we started doing a celebrity segment.
Trying to keep me up with what's going on with the celebrity world.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of out of it now, but.
Yeah. But I have educated her on Kendrick Lamar, and he just performed at the Super Bowl, and there was a lot of hate that he got from the Facebook moms and the dads on social media. They just didn't understand it. They don't know who Kendrick Lamar.
Didn't like it.
They don't know who he is, and they don't know the song Not Like Us. Even if you aren't even a Kendrick Lamar fan, like everybody in my generation knows like the backstory of Not Like Us. And I've told my mom about it. Like she's very educated on the matter with Drake and everything. But these Facebook parents were angry, and I saw my mom in the comment section saying like we were singing or something like
we went to
she's like, actually my kids told me like the backstory and I really enjoyed it, and people are like, what?
There's a few people that are just like, thank you, like, you know, like blah blah blah. I mean, it's the Super Bowl, right? We were actually at a sports bar here on the island, and a lot of people stood up, a lot of people watched it, and I know they showed some pictures of audience at the Super Bowl that didn't even stand up and dance or sing.
Yeah, at one point they if you like look into what's it called, the symbolism of parts of his show, he shows the American flag like division, and so I like that. And also he just like those jeans look so good on him. Like I'm trying to get,
actually,
I'm trying to have those legs. Like why don't I look like that in jeans?
He looks like somebody that really does work out though.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I saw so many like girls in the comment section. They're like, so where'd he get those jeans at? Because I'm trying to buy them. Anyway. But he looked like he was having a great time. And also, I did not think he was going to sing Not Like Us. And when he looked directly at the camera and said, say Drake, I was like, he did it.
Well, it started at the beginning. And it started at, like in the middle of the show. And then it switched to another song. Yeah. And I was like, okay, he was not allowed to do it. And then, of course, he finished with it. But I know, I was like, woo! Oh, yeah, we all did that. Yeah. And then it started. But I actually explained it to my mom, and it was in the newspaper the next day, but of course nobody really liked it. But again,
but I feel like I've seen a lot of positive feedback more than negative feedback.
You cannot make everybody happy. No. It doesn't really matter. You're going to bring a country singer next year, and have the people that don't listen to country be like, this is terrible. We need to have like, you know, I know you can't compare Prince when Prince was there, when Michael Jackson was there. They showed that. You know, big.
But I'm sure even some people didn't like that. Some people didn't like Michael Jackson. Like, there's always going to be like a division with the Super Bowl show.
And we need to talk just a tiny bit about the commercials because they were hilarious. And my favorite one by far, it was great to see the female in sports. I mean, set aside, that was amazing. But the funny one for me was the Michelob Ultra.
Yeah.
With Willem Dafoe and Catherine O'Hara. Is that how you say her name? Oh my gosh, I had seen it before. I had told you and her boyfriend, I'm like, you guys need to watch this. And when it came out, I'm like, silence, listen to this. We were in the restaurant and the bar and grill, and I thought it was hilarious. They were so amazing.
And then Alex Earl was in 4 commercials. Is that crazy?
Really?
I don't know, but that's crazy. 4 commercials is like insane. Yeah. But that is all we have for the little celebrity segment. I'm sure everybody has seen and been bombarded with on their social media about not the Grammys. Well, that too, but the Super Bowl.
Let's not go back there.
I don't think we need to go any further about that. But now we'll dive into our topic of long distance. I am from Iowa originally, and my boyfriend lived there. When I met my boyfriend my junior year of high school, I had already like fully decided that I wanted to get out of Iowa and go to Florida. So we are like knew beforehand going into our relationship that I was wanting to do that for college, and nothing would be changing my mind. Like if you want to get into a long-term relationship with me, like you have to like respect that I want to do that. You know what I mean?
It was important for us to make sure that you were following
like I'm going to follow what I've always wanted to do, and I can like you can still make a relationship work. If that's what's meant to be. So after 2 years of us dating, we were able to like establish a very good relationship, like in person before we did long distance, which I feel like a lot of people like date for a couple months and then they do long distance. So it's a lot harder. We already had like that base. And then we did 2 years of long distance, and I went to Florida for school. And obviously there were a lot of challenges and ups and downs, but I've compiled a little list of like some tips I have, and then also just like my personal experience. I know it's not meant for everybody. There's just some people who like either it's not the right person for them or they just can't do that. I know like a lot of people value like physical touch as their love language, and if they just can't do it for long distance, You
But
know,
just I remember you calling sometime and saying like how your roommates, which they were all from Florida, but I
Mhm.
mean not from here. You know, like they still had to drive a couple of hours, but they had boyfriends, and that was kind of long distance relationship. But I remember you were calling and said they were just having a hard time even going places and out with you guys, or even just go to like a tailgate, you know, on campus because they were jealous. And you were telling me like, oh, I just sent a picture of what I'm wearing to Bryce, and he said you look beautiful, have fun, be
Yeah.
safe. And I just thought I was so
Yeah.
respectful and nice. And
I would go out with the girls and have a girls' night and have some like wine or even like go to a club. I wouldn't get like trash or anything, but it was just us girls. And their boyfriends would be like, you have to text me every 2 minutes. Like you need to tell me what you're doing every 2 minutes. And I would just be like Snapchatting my boyfriend here and there, like sending him videos of me singing and then like
or
always
dancing.
and then always tell him when I'm on my way back and when I get back. And we had no issues, but
And
there,
sometimes he would be so nice that he would actually Uber food to you
yeah, yeah, he
from
would.
Iowa to
Yeah,
you here in Florida.
he would do that. But like it was like Taco Bell once. But they would just like if there's
Friends.
also like like when you're in a relationship, like the college experience is different,
Oh yeah.
and you need to understand that. And like it's still very enjoyable if you're in a healthy relationship. Like I had a great time, but there's a difference with going to like the bar for your intention of meeting like guys or somebody of the opposite gender or same gender if you're but like I was going to dance with the girls. There was no intention of meeting other people unless it was other girls to dance with. So it's just like where your heart and mind is behind that. But yeah, they just weren't in healthy relationships, and
Mm-hmm.
they were the last ones to ever cheat on their boyfriends. We would always like stay in our little group and dance, and if guys got near, we would just give them a nasty look or yell at them or start barking.
Or
But
taking.
yeah, but like it
Oh,
was just
just
crazy.
barking?
It was a joke,
Okay.
but yeah, you got to scare them off somehow. But
Okay.
no, they were very loyal, and so was I. So we just kind of did our own thing. So also we all know like the biggest thing of long distance is communication,
Mm-hmm.
and again, there are times where my boyfriend and I struggled, and we needed to kind of readjust and reevaluate what we were doing. We did end up taking a break in long distance because I think we did fail with the communication. It was maybe like a month or two, honestly, and we still talked every day. But what I learned from actually my sister's friend, gosh, I forgot her name, but she was a year older than her. I went to visit my sister at their university when my boyfriend and I just decided that we were going to take a little break. And she told me that something that she learned in her long distance relationship was that you text them all day about every single thing that you're doing, but at night when you do your like nightly call, you have nothing to talk about. So you sit there in silence and you're like, well, what do I talk about? Like, why can't we have a good conversation? Or like, why don't we have anything to talk about? And you think that there's something wrong with the relationship, but you're just not
You have
balancing
nothing
the
else to
community.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just not balancing the communication, but then also learning to like enjoy the silence and that it's okay and it's normal. So we would stop like it's okay not to have to text constantly, and then we would have a nice long call at the end of the night where we could like
End of the day.
yeah tell each other about like our day. Okay, so obviously communication, like being on the phone every night on FaceTime, like
Falling asleep on FaceTime.
yeah, we'd fall asleep on FaceTime, but then you also want to like make it, I don't know, special or more enjoyable and add some stuff into that communication so it's not like repetitive and it's the same thing every night. So we do Roblox. We would like find something that you can either talk about or do like here and there to make it special. Like what I found was talk or watch a TV show at the same time. Like don't go past this episode. Like we both watch to like episode 2 and then we'll talk about it.
No,
And
but
that's something that you can talk about.
something that it was so cute what they did, and I don't know if it was not like a specific night or a special holiday, whatever. But they would do a date night,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then so she would come here, and then would get ready and go to one of our favorite restaurant here on the island. he would be in a restaurant somewhere in Iowa, and then you guys would have FaceTime, like
Set
at
up
the
the phone.
restaurant. Yeah.
He'd Venmo me for the dinner. And
Okay, you didn't have to do that, but I'm just saying, like, when
No,
you
you
were saying
didn't
this,
have to.
we thought, I mean, because of course I talked about it at work the next day, and remember my patient's like, "This is so cute! Oh my goodness!" You know, like,
Yeah.
we didn't have that when we were younger. Blah blah. You know, clearly we didn't have phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's ways to, like, especially now with technology, there's ways to make it special and make it like almost bring that in-person aspect through technology.
Yes.
And there's an app where you can watch a movie at the same time as your, like, somebody from another state, or we would like go 3, 2, 1, and we'd click the movie at the same time and we'd watch it, and then we could talk about it. So that is also something that you can do.
I didn't know you could do the movie thing. I think this is great, actually. There's so many people that have to travel for work nowadays, and I think that's actually that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then obviously, like, iMessage games, like, just keeping it fun, instead of just having the same, like, routine, adding some stuff in there. I definitely like the, like, FaceTime dates. That was my favorite part.
What would people say? What were they saying in a restaurant? Like, your waitress, what was she saying?
She thought it was so cute.
Oh, nice.
But other people were giving me a really weird look that I was sitting there all dressed up alone. Or one time this guy asked if he could have my number because he thought I was eating there alone, and I was like, I'm literally having a FaceTime day with my boyfriend.
Dark.
Yeah. But because I would, like, sleep here, so it'd be like a sleepover date night through, like, the phone. But we did fall asleep on FaceTime almost every night if I wasn't, like, out with my friends, which was maybe once a week that I'd go out. But yeah, or we would do, like, homework on FaceTime. So, I mean, there's ways to, like, keep the communication going. And then also over communicating. Like, it's never an issue to over communicate. You don't have somebody's body language telling you how they feel. Because, like, once you've been dating for over 2 years, you sense their body language, but you can't do that over the phone. So, like, telling them everything about how you feel when you feel it will definitely, like, I don't know, what's the word? Prevent problems in the future. And you'll just be able to resolve them right away so they don't, like, continue on. If something that they're doing is bothering you or you want clarification, just ask. That ties into my next topic, which is, like, our independence. Like, we're both, like, very independent people. So when we were apart, we were able to grow separately. And then when we came together, it was just so much better because we've matured so much and, like, learned so much more about ourselves and could come together and share that experience. Like, I also completely just going to a new state, I had to grow up pretty quick and find that independence. And he also went to university, and I think he was just an independent person from the start too.
He does his own thing, even here right now. Even if he lives here, and if he just does his thing.
Yeah. But then also, like, even when you are together with a person, I believe that you should have separate things that you enjoy and you can talk to the other person about, because it's like it's you two having two different jobs. You have separate lives, but you can come together and talk about it. So that's something that we were able to do. Because if you share everything the same, then there's not something new and exciting that you can, like, teach your partner almost.
You want them to have their own opinion as well.
Yeah, and you want to, like, add value to that person and help each other learn. I asked my boyfriend some things that other people might struggle with for long distance and that we didn't struggle with. And the first one was the college experience. A lot of people use that as an excuse to break up with their boyfriend or girlfriend. And it's just because I don't think they had a solid, healthy relationship.
Well, if it's a relationship that's been only a couple months, then
yeah,
I don't think that's.
Or you just don't have the right values. Like, the college experience, like, you value partying and sleeping and meeting with other people. But if that is a person for you and they're a good person and you love them, you shouldn't give that up for the college experience, because it's not that great. It isn't great, actually. I think you kind of lose yourself in the college experience. And you can still have a great college experience without sleeping around or partying. And I don't judge anybody for doing that, but I don't think it is a valid reason at all to break up with somebody, especially if it's a healthy relationship and they're a great
I mean,
person.
if you're in love with the person, no, it's not a good
No,
reason
it's
to.
not worth it at all.
Not everybody sleeps around in parties in college.
And you can still go out with the girls, you can still have fun, you can meet other girls who are in relationships, and
You can start your wine Wednesday.
yeah, I love my wine Wednesdays.
I was actually wondering like who you were, like, and what did you do with my daughter that did not want to drink wine whatsoever before?
Yeah, we'd all get.
And then she'd be like, "Oh, Mom, we're having wine Wednesday." Excuse me, what? And then it was like wine Tuesday, and it was wine. So it was wine every single day of the week. But
Well,
it started
not really,
with wine
but
Wednesday, and it was hilarious.
It would just depend on the week if we had exams and stuff. But we'd all go get some wine and have a girls' night and watch a movie, and that was always fun.
Or watch airplanes.
Yeah, we'd go have some wine, and on our campus there's an actual like private airport, the Boca Airport, and we would go watch the planes take off because there's a part of campus where you can be right by the airstrip, whatever,
Yeah.
the landing strip. So that was fun, and we'd have like our glasses of wine. So that was a fun experience. Yeah. Like you can still have fun in college taken. Like it just doesn't really change anything.
Yeah.
And then also there's people who are just not okay with being alone. Like we all have like we all know somebody that constantly like needs a guy or needs a girl or constantly needs to be like almost in a relationship because they're not okay with being alone and they haven't found that independence. And we were okay with being thousands of miles away from each other. Mm-hmm. Yes, we'd rather be in the same room with each other, but we were okay with it.
Just we were gone for like what, 3 days? Not even. Because we left Friday. Well, we left Friday mornings and came back Sunday at kind of early afternoon. And it was, you guys texted on Friday and he was already bored. And he was going back to the gym because you weren't here. I was like, this is so cute. And I mean, you guys been together for 4.5 years. And he was just like, well, it's boring. You're not here or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, aw, you're so
yeah,
cute.
He gets bored if I'm not there for like, but he's okay with.
And sometimes you guys don't even talk. I mean, you could be outside, you could be, inside and stuff. And it's just the fact that, you're together like, in the same place. Yeah.
But like, we're okay with it. Like we'll go, like he'll go to the gym and like do something productive. Well, I feel like some people would come up with some bad habits to like cope with being alone.
You guys have your heads in the right place, so that's good.
Mm-hmm. And then also, I feel like a lot of people nowadays build their relationship off of a physical aspect, like lust or just physically being together. While I made it a priority to base my relationship off of an emotional connection first, and then going to college long distance, you're forced to maintain that and grow that emotional connection versus the physical one. And I think that it's made our relationship so much healthier. And I've seen so many of my friends and so many of his friends break up with their significant other because their relationship is based off of the physical aspect and they don't really, I don't know, prioritize the emotional connection. Intentionality is very intentionality is very important in long distance. Be more intentional about like what you do, what you say. Yeah. It can be misunderstood very easily.
Misinterpreted.
Really easily. Some positive takeaways from long distance is we take advantage and we cherish our time together. Now that we live together, it's so exciting that we can like wake up and see each other or like go to the gym together. And even when we were doing long distance, the like week leading up to when you're going to see them, like I don't think anything beats that feeling. Like you're so excited, but you're also nervous. And it's just like it's so exciting. But then a tip that I have for long distance couples is have like an idea or like a set date of when you'll see that person next. So like you guys can have like that that like excitement for the next date that you'll see them. And yeah, so now it's just very exciting, especially like our countdown to us like moving in together. We're like long distance is officially over, thank God. But again, it's not all terrible. Like you build such a good connection with that person and you value them on a whole nother level than physical relationships, like in person.
You guys were not together for about a month during Christmas time
Mm-hmm.
because he had to go back early to get his wisdom teeth removed. And then you guys were, I mean, I don't know if it was hard or not, but I remember you saying some, like, I can't wait for him to come back.
Yeah.
And this and that. So,
because the longest we've gone without seeing each other, I think, is 5 months, 6 months, maybe 5 months.
cool.
And now, yeah. And so that 1 month was honestly like, we're like, how did we do 6 months or 5 months without seeing each other? But I don't want to say get used to it, but you build a routine. Like, you have your own routine, you get into your own life, and then you also, like, are able to add them in like an exciting way or a special way. And then one last tip to long distance couples, again, having the like fun ways to communicate and keep that relationship exciting. And then also build a strong foundation. If you're not doing long distance yet, make sure that you have a healthy relationship and and a strong emotional connection. And I know that some people would fix their problems in not a emotional way. They would do it in a physical way, if you know what I'm talking about. That's how they fix their problems. And you need to look at that and you need to figure out how you're able to communicate while you're in person together to overcome those issues and just kind of reevaluate how you're doing it in person and just build a strong foundation before you go your separate ways. Not separate ways, but you know what I mean. And then just
go do you. I mean, it's college, so
yeah. We were told by a lot of people, even his mom. We were told by his mom to break up before we did college.
I didn't say that.
And see how we felt after college. And I didn't want to do that because I loved him and I wanted him to be a part of my college journey and I wanted us to grow together even if we were thousands of miles apart.
Because you don't know where life's going to lead you. Maybe you'll have a job and you'll have to leave for weeks at a time, and at least you'll guys know.
And I want him to be
what to expect.
And I want him to see me grow, and I want to see him grow. And so we were like 100% for it, and having a positive mindset going into it is so important. Like, not obviously anything can happen. There's always there's always a possibility that something will happen, but we were very positive and we didn't really think about, well, we'll just see if it works. No, we're like, we're going to make this work. So that is my last little tip. And then also my mom did long distance. Did you do a long distance relationship in like college?
I had met somebody back home a couple months. That's why we were talking about this. Like, it's totally different. It was not, we're like, oh, we'll make it work. It's going to be fine. And it was not serious enough before I left in order to say that it was going to work and stay. So, like, I came back to visit for Christmas and I was like, okay, it's not working. And we were mutually
Were you sad or was he sad? Or
no, because we were not involved seriously. Maybe 2 months before I moved.
Oh, okay.
So it was nothing.
So it's just like, we'll just see if it works.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's try it and stuff. And we're like, okay, it's not. And then it's not like it was like we didn't trust each other, whatever. But we were just obviously not involved enough.
Like you guys, like I said, like having a strong foundation before, like we will make this work. I feel like that's what you need. Absolutely. To make it through long distance.
Yeah, and it's not like we didn't trust each other, or I was partying, or he was partying, whatever. It was not that. It was just like it was not love yet.
And and it wasn't.
So we saw each other. It was great. Woohoo! We came to visit and stuff. But I was like, and then I left. I'm like, okay, I'm still okay to leave. So clearly, this is not meant to be. And we ended like very nicely, mutually. Friends. Yeah, it was nothing, and we stayed friends for a long time after that. I mean, he had another girlfriend and whatnot, and so it was fine. But
and then my mom also did some temporary long distance. My dad would leave for about. But he was a UFC fighter, so for training,
a trainer too. So they were a team. So when they left to go somewhere, they all left together. When
be like 3 weeks at a time, 2 weeks.
Before we had kids, was something. But after having kids, and it was a whole different story because you hear that, which is kind of funny. Because yesterday I walked here after going to the pool with your sister, and you guys were watching this comedian, and can't say his last name. I'm going to butcher his last name.
Bargatsky.
He's hilarious, and he's always like very poised
Yeah,
when
he
he
never
talks.
laughs at his own jokes. I'm like, how are you not laughing
I
right
know,
now?
right? But anyway, and he was talking about that, how he has to travel for work, and his wife is at home with their daughter. Well, I had two years apart.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had, when your sister came along, it was three, which, you guys were there to help with something. Your dad was traveling more often, but not as long. So he
Yeah.
would be gone for 4 days, but every week or every other week. And sometimes it was every week. Where when he was an athlete, whether it was for him or if it was for another fighter, they were gone. Like, I mean, if it was overseas, it was more than a week, obviously. Yeah. But if it was like, somewhere else in the United States, it was almost a whole week.
So she was like bringing us to swimming practice, bringing us to school, making the dinners, lunch, all that.
Oh yeah,
and he wasn't
and
like there.
Yeah.
So how did you?
No, wait. So to come back to the comedian, that's what I was saying. He's like, then my wife tells me that we come back, and of course I go and lay down, and chit chat with my daughter, and she's supposed to be sleeping, and we get yelled at because we're talking loud. And he's like, and I was not even talking loud. She was, and it's kind of funny because it is true. That's what happened.
They kind of come in and ruin the little routine.
Anyways, so it is like a routine that you get because you're on your own. So you need to have that so that you control the chaos. And because not every morning goes smooth, like you wake up in a bad mood, somebody else something happened, whatever, clothes doesn't work, whatever. And that was something we always choose the clothes the night before because there was no argument the next morning because I had to, get everybody ready and everybody going, lunches and this and that. And so yeah, like when he would come back, and of course he was very excited to see you and do stuff, or he was always surrounded by people.
So he didn't want to be around people.
And then he didn't want to be, but for me it was the opposite. I was always with you guys. So when he would come home, I was like, I wanted to be with adults. Like I wanted to have like an adult conversation, and he'd be like, no, I just want to stay home. So that was like sometime like, okay, so I was even going out with friends just for dinner on my own because so
he just wanted to stay in, relax,
not be surrounded by people.
So he'd be the babysitter.
Yeah. Well, that was a problem. Your dad always said, like, I'm going to babysit the kids. Like, you do not babysit your own kids, people. You watch your kids.
Yeah.
We don't babysit. We watch our kids.
How did you guys keep the like communication while he was like gone? Because he couldn't talk a lot if he was at the fights or.
Well, when he went overseas, I mean, okay, now the phones are really, really cool. I will say, it was fun. But at the beginning, we didn't have, we had flip phones, right? So flip phones. So it's not like you could really take pictures or filming and stuff. But when you would go overseas at the beginning, and I don't remember, and maybe he will correct me on this, but I don't remember really communicating with him that much. Yeah. And you guys were little.
I mean, I don't know how the technology worked when you want to, like, you have to pay for your minutes.
Yeah, it was stuff like that. So we really did not talk that much. At the end, it was fine. I mean, we all had iPhones by then, but so we didn't talk much during those times. Thankfully, it takes a village. So I had my village at home to help me out. I had my close friends, and kids the same age as my kids. So like the Shimboris were a huge part of our lives. Yeah, a huge part of our lives at that time. But it was, we wouldn't communicate much. But so when he stopped fighting, when he was fighting, you can't anyways, they get into their own, like any athletes, right? You get into your own, zone and stuff. So you don't, even when I went to see him fight, I would not even stay in the same hotel room as him or anything like that. The days prior, and I would not even talk to him or see him, just like, hey, hi, hug, and that's it. But it was, we were not really talking. Now, when he became just
commentating,
he was a trainer for a while without fighting. That was a little bit easier to talk. But then again, he's there for his job is to be a trainer, to be a coach. You don't bug him either that much. But when he was a commentator, that was a whole lot much easier.
Because he would FaceTime, and I remember I'd be like, hey.
Yeah, that was a whole lot easier. However, you're still home alone with the kids. And then your youngest sister came along. You were 9 and Isabella was 11. And then she's a baby, right? And you guys were helping out. That's true. But you had your own schedule. Yeah. So, and then of course, it was always during that time that you and your sister were not in the same group at swimming. So you guys were overlapping. And then your babysitter, I couldn't leave the baby at home. So it was like, feeding her, put her in the car, drive you there because I fed you, then switch, or whoever was,
The amount of times you had to take Amelia in and out of the car
yeah,
for the car seat.
and it was just, it was so tiring. Or even like driving you guys up in the morning for the 5 a.m. practice when you guys were not driving, wake the baby up, put the baby in a car seat,
Yeah.
like praying to God that she will go back to bed when you come back home and stuff. And that did not happen all the time. But so yeah, that was it's different than because we were married, so we already had our relationship. We already
you already had that foundation, and after you do after you do that for so long, you eventually get in the routine, and that's just like how life is. Like it's their work.
And your dad knew when he came home to just like go with it. Weekends are different, just go with it. But even sometimes, like especially at the end, he was working more like a Thursday through Sunday. That's when he would be leaving. So sometimes we're not even home because we had swim meets. So I went to all these swim meets by myself, and then like you two plus the baby, and this, and again, thank you to my village with Lane 4 Aquatics. You guys were all awesome. Amelia had so many moms, dads, and sisters throughout her life until we moved here. But it was sometimes it was very challenging. Sometimes it was very tiring because you do mom and dad's job, together. But but yeah, I mean, every time you would come home at the end, it would be a little. I mean, at the end, meaning when you guys were getting older. You guys had, you were independent and, doing your thing, especially when you were driving and stuff. But at the beginning, when you would come home and mess up the schedule, it would just so infuriating because then then you guys would be all wound up and, oh, we're not going to bed right now. We're not taking a shower. What? Dad's here, blah, blah. I'm just like, oh. But no, it's a lot of communication.
He'd put like Family Guy on when you didn't know. He'd be like, you want to go downstairs and watch the TV? So I'd be like, sure. He'd put on Family Guy.
Yeah, totally appropriate.
Yeah.
And there's some other stuff that was kind of hard too. It's like, disciplining. Did I say it right? Discipline. So, like when you have to discipline your children. And, I remember your sister said like you were always like the one like being not mean, but, of course I'm mean because I'm the mom. That's how it works. Your baby sister tells me every day. But, like I'm the one who was saying no to this and this and this. But technically it was like sometimes I would call your dad and say, like, this is what's going on with the girls. Like, what are we doing? What's going, blah, blah, blah. And of course, but I'm the one who was there. So I'm the one who always did the discipline at that point until he would come during the weekend and be like, what's this? I'm like, well, that's what we were talking about. Like, you need to be on the same page as me. I mean,
I know I was both like, for me, I remember being disciplined by both of you, and I was like scared of both of you when you guys would get mad. But when he'd come back, he would like, I remember one time he was like, don't speak to my wife like that. And I was like, what the heck? Why is mom?
But yeah, it's for, being respectful and polite and stuff. But there was a lot of discipline that happened that him and I would talk about it over the phone because he went home, and then I would have to, implement it. And then he would come back and continuing it with it, or so be like, okay, then understand like that's what was going on. So okay, now I get it. But so there's a lot of
having
stuff
to parent also from a distance. Then.
Yeah, that was kind of sometimes hard, but
I like that we are able to cover different types of long distance because it can be like, I know somebody whose long distance was from another country and they did that for a long period of time, and that was like in France, but he would make the effort to go visit and stuff.
I mean, yeah, they did that for a while, but my cousin Caroline did that with her. I mean, they were together 7 years, so they've done that for a long time, and he eventually did move to Canada. But they're no longer together. But that has nothing to do with that because they were both now living in France.
Yeah, so they traveled the world together after. It was
so it had nothing to do with the long distance. They made that work. I mean, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
them and then our friend's son. Yes.
But that is all we have for the segment. If you are going to do a long distance relationship, I encourage you to try maybe some of the tips that I gave.
Yeah.
And just have fun with it. It can still be enjoyable. It's not all terrible.
And you can visit,
And and if you really love the person, it'll work out. I know the statistics of like how often long distance relationships actually work. don't let those scare you, because it scared me too. But if you know in your heart that that's the person that you want to be with, you can make it work. And
even if it's your first boyfriend, because this is what your situation is.
My first boyfriend, and now we are almost 5 years into a relationship, and we're doing great. So
and dealt with long distance, and that is against the odds as well, because like high school sweetheart, we don't. I mean,
I remember watching.
I'm not saying it was probably more popular, years ago, but we had close people that told you that was not a good idea, and you know what?
I remember watching TLC, and there was a girl doing "Say Yes to the Dress," and she's like, "There's only a 2% chance of high school sweethearts actually getting married." And I married my high school sweetheart, and I'm so excited. I'm like, I want to be her when I grow up. And I was like, I'm literally not going to meet my high school sweetheart. Like, I only got 2 years left, and then he just came out of nowhere. So
Nowhere.
now, yeah, hopefully I get a ring on it. And
I'm sure that's going to be on a future podcast.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. But that is all we have for today. Before we end every episode, we want to just give one last shout out to Le Petit Paris. You guys were amazing. Beach. We will be back when we go visit Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
If you guys are near there, go visit. It's amazing. And then we also finished with a Would You Rather.
Oh, yeah. So, and I kind of lost it. That's what I was trying to do. But it was, if I remember well, so I kind of lost it, but I kind of remember it was, would you rather be stuck for, let's say, a week at a time in the desert or in the jungle? Let's just say a couple days.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, dead silent.
I think I'm going to do...
Knowing you and bugs in either way, either places.
Because they have scorpions and stuff in the desert, but the desert's also hot and you don't have water. So I'd have to go with the jungle because I can at least like have some sort of food source.
Hey, everything is probably poisonous in the jungle.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. If I could choose neither, I'd choose neither. But that is all we have for today. Go follow us on Instagram at @acoffee.break, TikTok at @coffee_break, and YouTube a Coffee Break with Kat and Mom. Video podcasts on Spotify and YouTube. And tune in every Sunday at 9 a.m. I hope you guys enjoy this episode, and we will see you guys next week for our last episode of season 1. And then we'll have a little break week. We'll repost an older podcast episode.
Or maybe the bloopers, because there's quite a few.
Yeah, we'll probably do maybe a bloopers episode. And then we'll be back for season 2. So I hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you guys.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.